Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you. Lyanna and Lisa, two young women whose future was destroyed. One a Ukrainian in Germany, one a Dutch woman. Victims of barbarism that should never have been allowed to take root in Europe. We should refuse to forget their names. Lyanna was 16. She had fled the war to seek out peace, but what she found was her death last summer. An Iraqi migrant who was under a deportation order pushed her under a train. A few moments before, she had called her grandfather. She was afraid, and the last sound that he heard was the screaming of her daughter. Lisa should have been coming home from a party in Amsterdam. She was worried about being followed. She rang the police. The police arrived and found her lifeless body in a ditch. Her throat had been cut. The suspect was a resident in a reception centre who was a suspect of a rape a few days before that as well. And these terrible cases are not isolated. They're not little extra bits of news. This is the daily events for our wives, mothers and daughters. This is the result of irresponsible migration policy imposed by member states and the EU and accepted by an elite that is disconnected, who are sacrificing their children on the altar of an ideology. 79% of sexual assaults in the public transport in the Paris region were by foreigners. In 2023 in Paris, all rapes in the road saw a figure of 77% being foreigners interrogated by police. In Germany, again, crimes committed by North African immigrants. In the UK, it's Indo-Pakistani gangs raping young women. And there's a political cover-up going on there, which is a scandal that everyone's trying to forget. In French prisons, you can see that this is a full-on disaster. 19,000 foreign prisoners were in French prisons. That's 24% of the whole prison population. So 3 times more than their demographic representation. These are numbers. These are facts. Checkable. The challenge, or to ignore this challenge, then, is intellectual dishonesty. We're focusing on migration here, but that doesn't mean that we are ignoring domestic abuse and domestic violence, which are terrible plagues on certain families. But it's not ignoring violence in the public space that is going to be a solution. That would be irresponsible as well. In public transport, in the streets, there are areas where life is untenable for residents. What's the EU doing? It's funding NGOs that want more migrants to come to Europe, even those who have Islamist backgrounds. It is enforcing the Migration and Asylum Pact, which wants more migrants on European soil. It's supporting ideological programs like 10 million for a European Quran, despite the place that Islamists would give women in our society. The European Commission is also funding PR campaigns in which young girls are in veils, whilst the Iranian regime is killing young women for taking off their hijabs. Things are urgent. If we don't act now, society will reach a tipping point. This is an existential threat for our civilization, for our people and for our daughters. What Europe do we want to leave behind us? One that protects them, one that's free and safe, or one that is subjected to chaos and the Sharia? Unrestricted immigration from these countries is a threat to our lives and our freedoms, particularly women's freedoms. For the Patriots, we will continue to act in order to put an end to this anarchic immigration within our institutions and within our society. We want to make sure that we have freedom for the future, for our citizens and for the women in Europe. Thank you.
Well, the next speaker is Marie Bjerre on behalf of the Council.